So I'm pretty honored, really honored to be talking to a musician today. And sometimes the musicians actually have day jobs. A lot of them don't. So this is easily my most prestigious combination of musician slash day job of anyone I've ever talked to. I'm here with Michael P. Donnelly, who's a member of the band Faith and Whiskey. And you can Google him to figure out what his day job is, or he can tell you.
Sure.
You're what, a Supreme Court justice?
That's right. Since 2019, I'm proud to serve on the Supreme Court of Ohio. Prior to that, I was a trial court judge here in Cuyahoga County for 14 years.
What got you to go from being a lawyer to being a judge? How'd that happen?
I started my career as a prosecutor and enjoyed that, but I always kind of gravitated towards being a judge. I liked the idea of sitting as the neutral in the adversarial system and providing both sides in a conflict with a fair trial, if necessary, in order to litigate for truth and justice.
It's probably easier to see the good you're doing as well in that position, I would think, the fulcrum.
Yeah, being a judge is a great position, and you get to wake up every day and you have the opportunity to help someone.
That's great.
No matter what type of case it is.
That's great. All right, so now down to what really matters, which is rock and roll, and why we're here. You're involved in a benefit. It's called the Jam for Justice.
That's right. And I really appreciate you spreading the news about this. This is going to take place this week, Wednesday, August 23rd at the Beachland Ballroom. This event has been going on primarily around a decade now. And Faith and Whiskey and many other bands. This year we have 9 bands. And most, if not all, have a lawyer or a judge or a law professor in it. And we've been doing it every year, and it raises money for what I consider one of Northeast Ohio's most important institutions. That's the Legal Aid Society of Cleveland. And what Legal Aid does is they provide vital legal services for people in our communities who cannot afford it, yet still need legal representation. We have a huge justice gap in our country and in Northeast Ohio between the people who can afford legal services and those who can't. I'll just give you an example, Ken. I was just down in Columbus at my day job at the Supreme Court, and I stay down at a Hilton down there, so I get to know the people there, because I'm down there every 3 weeks listening to arguments on cases. And a young lady who serves as a valet at the Hilton where I usually stay, she became aware that I was a judge, and she asked that, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Sure." And she said, she had just received that job a couple months earlier. Her husband had left her, went to Texas. She was trying to get a divorce, but every attorney she called wanted a retainer of $3,000 before they would even represent her, and she didn't have $3,000 and wasn't going to have $3,000 in the near future, but she needed that legal services. So I was able to put her in touch with a service down that does the exact same thing that Legal Aid does here. They help people who are in need. Oftentimes people who are being evicted from their homes. They have legal rights that could be asserted, but if they don't know those legal rights, then the system can run right over you.
How many people a year does this organization help on average?
Thousands upon thousands. And I would see it as a trial court judge firsthand. Legal Aid would come in representing someone. Here's just one example. Someone was being evicted. They had a hearing. There was really no grounds for the eviction. It was a personality conflict between the property manager and the tenant. And Legal Aid was able to shine a light on that and protect this person's house or apartment from being taken away from them. So, but in spite of the great work they do, they still need. There's so many people that they can't help just from lack of resources. So.
Sure.
Events like this help keep the costs going. So this is why I love and my band members love it. Faith and Whiskey.
How long's Faith and Whiskey been around? I'd say it's been a good decade since I was in the
Yeah, I
area.
think it's close in and around 12 years, which is unbelievable. We all started at the local School of Rock in Highland Heights, and we went through a couple semesters, of working together. And one day, Tommy Rich,
Yeah.
well-known drummer, I'm sure that you know.
Cleveland's Keith Moon.
That's right.
Not
Cleveland's Steve Moon.
lifestyle-wise, just,
Right.
just drumming,
Drumming
style.
And he was a member of a group I used to follow in high school, American Noise. And I was a big fan of that band. And, Tommy was a musical director there, and still is. And he approached us one night and said, "Hey, you guys, this was never meant to be a continuous thing. You guys are supposed to form a band and go out and do this on your own."
Oh,
and
that's cool.
so we did it. And I was 46 at the time, and my wife thought I was crazy forming a band at that time, but we went out and started playing. There's still some old videos there that I wish people would take down about how we sounded when we were. No,
well,
not your videos,
okay. Even earlier.
even earlier than that. I'm
Okay.
embarrassed, but because we've actually, in my humble opinion, we've gotten pretty good.
Yeah.
We live by this code where we all like all types. Like you, I like all types of music. Always have. It's been a huge part of my life. But we came up with a code that I think has kept us together. And when so many bands break up, we're a cover band, okay? And we all like all sorts of different music. But we came up with a code that we only pick songs that are upbeat, high energy, get the crowd going. People want to hear it. We love one-hit wonders from the 70s.
Somebody likes the Babies and John Waite.
Yeah, that would be Steve.
Yeah,
Miami Steve.
That's your highest percentage of covers, I think.
Yeah, he's a big fan. So we always try to accommodate him.
What turned you on to music first? What's your earliest kid music memory?
I think my first 45 that I bought was Rock and Roll All Night by Kiss. Yeah, that was my first 45, and that my parents. I can remember them screaming at me to turn that down on my turntable. But I was always a huge Stones, The Who, Lou Reed.
There you go.
When I started playing guitar, one of the first songs I wanted to learn was Sweet Jane. And for many years, that's all I was known for with my friends, because I would get up at a wedding or some function where there was a band and they knew I knew how to play guitar, and I was always that was always my go-to song. So when we formed Faith and Whiskey, that was a staple of our set, and the guys got tired of playing it over and over. I have probably sang Sweet Jane and played it more times than anyone in the world but Lou Reed, and but I was always a huge fan of his and the Velvet Underground and just music in general. And so started playing guitar in high school, and this experience of being in Faith and Whiskey has only enhanced my guitar playing and love of playing guitar. Yeah.
Well, I gotta say that from a musical point of view, going in to one of the venues you guys frequented all the time and seeing the cover bands, you held your own very well within the Greenville.
Thank you.
And secondly, the owner of the Greenville at that time, Phil, confided in me, you guys brought in more money than any other cover band because you had such a great audience of barristers and people that are connected to you guys socially that
our clientele tends to pay for the upper end beers and drinks at the Greenville, so I think that's why they tip well too. So
I've also noticed you have much better equipment than the average bar band.
Yeah, I have been able to accumulate a fair number of guitars, much to my wife's chagrin. At our gathering space, I have probably I'm up to 6 or 7 electric guitars and one acoustic right now, and love playing them whenever I can.
So, have you tried to write anything, or?
I have written some musical material. I'm not a lyrics guy. I still need to to put to lyrics. I tried to bring it to the band, but so far they're not buying it.
See, now, I honestly was getting ready to hear, you know, because writing is such a big part of your job.
Yeah.
You know, I would have thought, my gosh, that'd be almost the easy part for you.
It's the rhyming part that, you know, that is something that a talent I've always admired. And if you could say, what talent would you love to have that you don't have?
Yeah.
It would be songwriting. I'm friends with a band. Do you remember the Connells?
Oh, a little bit.
Yeah, so the Connells, you know, and our friend Dan Barrick, our mutual friend Dan Barrick, is also a Connells fan. And,
Did we not meet at his birthday party?
Right,
at
and he
the
had
country
Connells
club?
up here. And so your audience, if they haven't heard this band, this is a band from North Carolina that I used to follow ever since college. And to me, they're one of the best unsung bands. A lot of people know them, but they should have a lot wider audience. They just put out an album called Stedman's Wake, which I consider their masterpiece.
That's saying a lot.
It's a great song from a great album from start to finish. So check them out.
Where'd you go to school? Down where, you know?
You know, I went to John Carroll, but I had a friend at UVA.
Okay.
And he would send me during that time. That was a big, you know, REM, all those jangly bands from
Winston-Salem neighborhood.
Winston-Salem, yeah. So he would send me tapes, and one of them would have the Connells on it, and then I wrote their management. They were playing at Ohio State, and I road trip down there and caught them, and been a fan ever since, and become friends with the band too. So
Yeah. Well, aren't some of them lawyers as well?
yeah, Mike Connell's
Yeah,
a lawyer, and you know, David Connell is a painter. He owned a couple of his paintings. They're true artists, so check them out.
Well, there you go, folks. So make sure you check out the Jam for Justice. It's at the Beachland on Wednesday night, the 23rd.
Doors open at 5, and there's going to be continuous music because when one band's playing in the main room, another one will be ready to go as soon as they're finished in the tavern. So you can migrate back and forth. Constant music, food, beverages, and a great cause. There's going to be a lot of lawyers. I encourage law students, if you're watching this, come on out. Great place to network and have fun and be part of a great tradition. I'm certainly proud to be a part of it.
To become, you're just recruiting future members of the bands to play Legal Aid, you know.
That's right. If they want to come up on stage with us at the event, we always encourage that. You've seen that at the Greenville.
Oh yeah. That's when it goes down a little bit in musical quality, but it's fun.
That's right.
Well, Mike, thank you very much. Good luck this week, and
Yeah.
keep on rocking.
Ken, thanks for shining a light on this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.